think we've got to be more successful and more consistent from a number of areas, starting with our defensive transition and our pick and roll defensive schemes and execution from a defensive standpoint, and offensively our ability to play the game at a consistent, steady tempo with a lot of movement and a lot of action and activity to occupy defenders. You know, I think those are the three areas that will be the major points of emphasis for us.
Byron often said that it was his goal to make this an up-tempo team to get up and down the floor, although we didn't see that with any consistency. Do you believe the personnel is that a good fit for this team?
I think the approach that we'll have is to play at a steady pace with a flow to the game. I don't think we have to. Speed is not the answer, but constant movement and flow from one phase to the other is, and that's the one thing that we hope to change very quickly. The ability to play with continuous actions, whether that's offensively or defensively, because it's all a game of change. The team that can change the quickest and the most effectively is usually the team that comes out ahead. And whether that's changing from offense to defense, or changing from one side of the floor to the other, or changing from inside to outside, those are all things that are going to affect the game. I think we need to have more possessions per game, more field goal attempts, free throw attempts. These are all things that are going to be the challenge of our coaching staff moving forward.
Jeff, did you bring up those concerns to Byron, and was it a lack of execution or a difference of opinion on how to correct things that might have led to today's decision?
Well, I think we had a number. Obviously we talked about things a number of times. And we're in agreement on where we were trying to go with everything. And unfortunately, we haven't been able to get there to this point.
Do you think Byron just lost this team over time?
I don't look at it that way. I think this team was not performing up to its capabilities right now, and has the ability and the talents to do better. And that's more of how we looked at it. And how do you judge? How do you say? That's a phrase that's out there that you can't measure. What we can measure has been our performance and the results, whether it's defensively or offensively.
Have you said
Hugh, you said you talked with
John
John. Go ahead.
motion, or is that something where you're going to ingrain with your assistant coaches and come to the conclusion what best fit Chris and the talent around him? Is that something that's going to be a decision-making process when the field comes?
Well, my philosophy, John, is going to be this: we're not married to a particular offense or the name of an offense. What we want to do is put our players in position to be successful, and each player has strengths and weaknesses, and we want to play their strengths and minimize their weaknesses. So I'm not married to what I'm not going to do is turn away from things that may have been successful just because we're moving forward.
Would you say players, we haven't been able to speak to any, would you say they were surprised or shocked over this news when you met with them as a team?
I think it's hard for me to characterize their reactions. I think you're better off waiting you can speak with them when they're available next. But I think they all feel that they're capable of being more successful than we have been over the course of this season and the preseason. And they understand.
Sorry.
All right.
You talked about your relationship with Coach Floyd and that it was a good fit that you two worked together. I know that you don't just give charity to anybody, but he didn't do poorly his first year here. I think they were 41-41 and went to Game 7 of the first round of the playoffs. Did you ever feel as if maybe he didn't get enough of a chance, or that he was wrong the first time he was fired here? Did you ever believe that maybe he deserved another year here in some way?
No, that has nothing to do with this. The decision in that regard is all about a coach that I know and trust and know what his philosophies are and what his strengths are. What we're doing is looking forward, not looking back, you know, and so his eagerness and ability, you know, are all things that fit the situation right now.
Can you just summarize real quick? Why was 9 games in the season enough? I think I know where you're going with it, that it had to do with last year too, but, and also, you know, when you understand that, you know, the base of the franchise and Chris Paul have become very close personally with the coach and they play golf together, and do you look at that as kind of a challenge for you and, you know, getting him past that?
Well, let's see, 9 games into the season obviously is one thing, but the numerous practices that we watched and the effectiveness of our team and growing from them are all areas that we feel will be different, will need to be different rather. And so given that plus our preseason play, we were looking for something to point to make us say that it was changing. You make us, and the only thing you can do is look at the tapes of the games and search to see what steps and what progress is being made. And we weren't comfortable with what we were seeing and the amount of progress that was taking place.
Jeff, with all due respect, you've never been a head coach. How do you think the players will respond to you in this new role?
You know, I'm not going to predict that. I think what I will predict is that our players will give us a great effort, and that our players will attempt to execute the schemes that our coaching staff, you know, puts forward. And I think they'll adapt to change well, and we'll let that up to them to decide.
Yeah,
This isn't one thing I do want to say and make sure that you understand this isn't about me. This isn't about me stepping into this role. This is about a situation that a group of players that I believe in deeply, a group of players that I feel have the talents and abilities to work together, to grow together, to do some important things. And the role of the head coach is what this is all about, as opposed to me being in it. But I feel I have an obligation to the players and to the organization to take that very seriously and to act upon it.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. Guys.